Afternoon baseball from one of the best ballparks around, Oriole Park in Baltimore. Going to be a good one here between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Baltimore Orioles. And now, go 2000. It's really baseball. Next on the show, John Means, Kansas-born left-hander, will be doing the pitching. What do you have for us on him, Denny?
Hey, it's hard to have all four of your pitches on him. But I think if this guy can have two or three of his four pitches and have command of them, he's going to have a really good game.
We are ready for some daytime baseball. Fouled off. First pitch. Ready with the 0-1 pitch. Gets the fastball by him here, and he's in control 0-2.
Threw that fastball right by him. He had no chance to get the barrel on that one.
Yeah, that's up in the danger zone. A great day for baseball here. 81 degrees at first pitch. There's a little shopper up the middle. Trouble first is in something for the pitch out. And then T. Brian Hayes. First pitch on the way. And a strike ball at the knee is 0-1. And this is the outside corner, so it's knotted up at 1-1. Time for a look at our umpires in this one. Behind the plate is Ed Drummond.
Yeah, Matty, hey, you know what, dude? This Ed Drummond, he's a good umpire, fair umpire, good baller, strike umpire. Pretty much strike down the road. That's all you look for, Dan. Just be consistent. I don't care if you're given 2 to 3 inches off the outside, but you can't do it on the inside. And if you're going to stick to one thing and stay consistent with it, umpire will have a play.
Here's a big swing and miss on the fastball, 2-2. And chase back on the curveball and dirty still 3-2.
Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit.
So first represents the potential going head scorer. Double play is in order, however. Let's shove it and miss the throw. In time as he's in well ahead of the throw. So a slight second successful, but you have to wonder enough that might actually end up taking the bat out of the hands of one of their better hitters.
Well, that's a good point, Matt, but I'd be a little surprised if that's the case. It's still early in the game this time, so that would be a pretty cautious move to pitch around him here or just walk him flat out.
Lofted in the air out toward right center. Sometime there, right side. Thanks. There are 2 guns now. Two out. Runner in scoring position at second. That'll bring up Colin Durant. The first pitch. And he fouls this one off. 2 out here in the runner in second. Count of 1-1 to the Pirates' first baseman. Fastball, look on Sunday. Lifted the other way down the left field line. He is on the run for it. He's there to make the play, and now he's trying to shot. One left for Pittsburgh. The Orioles due up in the first, no score. Stephen Brooks gets the start for Pittsburgh in this one. And please, Zach, what do you got?
Well, one thing to look out for him, Matt, is if he can avoid the big inning. It's not that big of a deal to give up a run here or there, but sometimes he can be prone to giving up 3 or 4 in an inning, and that kind of derails the whole start when that happens. Limit the damage, and he'll be just fine.
Now to the plate. Here's Miller. And lead things off here in the what's better than infield in the overshift here. Now the pitch. No, ball and no strikes.
No, 1-0.
Breaking ball that time that misses out of the zone. Stop over to first. They'll take it to the boot himself for the leadoff man is going here to sit at the room. So that is pretty good. So it was looking like it. Ready to deliver. Here comes the first pitch. Strike to even the count. 1-1.
You can really tell they're trying to keep the ball in on this big slugger right here.
Is that an effort to keep him from getting extended, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the idea, man. But he might spin the win if he starts looking for it in there.
So 1-1 home. Swing and a miss as they got him with the slider there, 2 away.
Really good late bite on that slider right there. The best ones have that late action that just darts at the last minute. If there's no tough to get the bat on, when you've got that good slider going, it's a great strikeout pitch.
Anthony Santander, the next to bat. First pitch misses 2 limits, ball 1. Lifetime against this pitcher. Not a big sample size, 0 for 1. A windup and the 1-0.
2-pitch mix here. If you're in the batter's box, you're looking for something up. Sink or change up right here. Gotta get it up.
Check swing here is a good one himself, and it's 1 strike 2. Some picked the right off there, but he did, and it's even up at 2-2.
He got ahead with 2 good fastballs and then tried to drop the changeup to see if he'd be out in front. Did a great job of laying off that pitch right there. Interesting to see where he goes now.
Hit in the air down the right field line.
You're lucky if you get one pitch and right down the middle. Could not be later. Yes.
Sinker, both strike 3 as he's looking up on the side is retired. Well, you see the 3 go to the Orioles. And this is still a 0-0 ball game. New inning set to get underway. Now it will be the catcher of Jacob Stock. The first pitch here comes. This is taken inside for ball 1. Well, swinging at this strike 1. 1-1 pitch. That's a pitch for strike number 2.
Great job on those last 2 pitches of varying speeds. He got hard fastball, but then he locked them up with the changeup.
This is in the air. Just really about 7. Look at this. Let's take the first shot. And look at it. Tag in. Roll with second base. Here's Yoshi Tsutsuga. In his career against this pitcher, he's hitless in 3 at-bats. He's set. Here it comes. In the air out to center field. It's it'll get there to make the play for round number 2. Bring up Ben Gamble. Runner in scoring position as he comes. To deliver here beats the face pitch. It's the outside corner. It's strike 1. It's 1-1. Still looking for a first hit in the ball game. He tried to get that one going, but it didn't too. Well, I have to wait with the change of pace. That's ball 2. And it's number 4. They won. We're not going to the second, no score. Now at the plate here is Trey Mancini, and he's got to beat us to bring in the winning. It's up to the even oh, he's injured. Well, we'll the letter with the fastball. Excellent. That's got this. Any lower, pay for it. On the strike. Slowing out. Go deep to the steam. This one has a change. So let's see it. No bigger than that as this game is over.
Well, they say better late than never, and that's obviously something that he takes to heart as he puts a charge in one for a walk-off homer. Got to be the best feeling in all of baseball.
A 2-0 finish today. Baltimore took the lead in the second inning and rode that until the very end. John Means gets the W on the mound. Stephen Brooks lasted only an inning in the losing effort. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plezak, Heidi Rodney, and our entire crew, I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com. Our final run to this afternoon. From Truist Park, just about set for baseball from Cobb County, Georgia. Coming up, we've got a good matchup in store between the Minnesota Twins and the Atlanta Braves. Interleague Baseball comes your way next. Max Fried, a southpaw out of the Golden State, gets the call here. Dan, any thoughts?
Hey, getting a look at lefty Max Fried, and man, has this guy come a long way in a short time. This guy's as good a left-handed starting pitcher as there is in the game. Smooth gas, 95 to 97 miles an hour. Good overhand curveball, makes a steady dive and change ups in. He starts to put all three of those pitches together. Look out. Left-handed pitchers are all the baseball.
Max Keller nice and start things off as he looks at the ball to start the inning 1-0. First pitch. And it's in there for strike 1-1. Great afternoon for baseball here. 71 degrees, the temperature at first pitch. One now. The Twins lead off man.
The offensive game plan today is certainly to see the ball up. This guy is known on the mound for sinker changeup combination. He's going to try and establish down in the zone to get swing and miss or run consistently. You have to find something about the ball.
Here is Aaron Buxton. Ready with the first pitch. Here it comes. Yeah, I still believe in my heart the best pitch because the well executed fastball down the way, and that's exactly what that is.
He swings at that. That's off the end of the bat. That's not back at all. It's an easy down.
Out of the way.
And he's coming right after him. 3 fastballs in a row. Ready with another 1-2.
Here, towards second. Next to him, for his career in this matchup, he's hitless in 3 opponents. First pitch coming, here it is. Fastball on the inner third, taken for the strike.
Wouldn't mind the pitcher expanding the zone a little bit more and using his aggressiveness against them.
Pulled up in time, but it's a call. Strike 2. And we're just underway from Truist Park. Twins are set down 1-2-3. And now the Braves will get their initial shot here. No score. Michael Pineda gets the starting nod for the Twins. What do we need to know here, Danny?
Well, I think the key for him is going to be locating strikes and forcing soft contact. He doesn't have dominant stuff compared to some other guys, but if he executes, he can still be very effective. We'll see how he does.
Now at the plate is Eddie Sorry. It lead things off here in the bottom, man. Where you going? Don't let him. Got him. You know, you're doing local shift here. You're not a good. Strike 1 and starting to get it. This is Nick over there at first as he was in the right spot at the right time. One away.
Batting second, the first baseman. Ready. Freeman.
So look out for nobody get bored. And on the bad next, one of the best 11 producers in the game, the left-handed hitting first baseman, Freddie Freeman. This ball pitches the black there for a ball strike.
You could bet he wants that one back at the plate right now. That's a pitch you normally see a guy drive if he has the right approach going.
Bases are empty, one man. Strip for the Braves first baseman.
As a veteran out on the mound, that's a pitch that you expect to get a ball on. Gotta believe he keeps pounding that spot until he builds a rapport with the outfield.
High in the air down the right field line. This is a line up the follow ball. The lead is hitting 1-2 runners in. The outside corner. He's earned the right to live out there with the fastball. So that's out number 2.
That is well, no preferential second there. Sometimes these great hitters have their quality their way on most pitches, but not this time. I think that was actually a quick take, but on 2 strikes, anything that close can go either way.
So up steps Ozzy Albies. So take a look at ball 1. Looking to get on base and keep their first inning alive. A windup and the 1-0. Run this one out, and he absolutely finds himself down 1-2 now.
What a jam shot right there. That's as good as it gets in my opinion.
Well, fastball taken outside here. It moves it to 2-2 now.
You know he's probably cheating on that inside pitch after he got jammed earlier. If you're on the mountain right now, you want to try to get that outside corner. There's a pretty good chance you'll get him to roll over something.
All the way. Slightly, as he says, you got kidding me with the side retired. Lights are shut down 1-2-3. Still no score. Set for the start of the inning and set to go as the third baseman, Josh Donaldson. First offering on its way. Swing rolls it on the ground. He's really getting the better of it now. It's strike 2. And set up behind the dish is Woody Keller. You should see the rest of the umpiring crew there.
Woody Keller, this is my nightmare. He likes to go a pitch up the zone, up the bell. I know guys say those are pitching that go deep, but so you're pitching up to try to elevate him on that strike. So
with that, Miguel Sano digs in next. Come on, I can't make contact on the first pitch. It's strike 1. In his career versus this pitcher, he's 1 for 3. Oh, no, it's good. Oh, 1-2. Every pitcher looks to get off to a good start. I'd say he's off to a good start. I thought the first 5 matches, he's sitting down at the start. Standing here now, Nick Stanford. So on this opportunity for him here to pick up that runner from second with two away. Nearly got the inside, but really to go.
Now you can see he's looking around this guy right here. Why not? First base is open. What would be the worst thing in this spot?
Well, two. You can see right there with the head sticking up his head. Making sure that the strike zone gets a little bit higher. It's tough to cover both sides of the plate, and they both want that strike zone to be straightened up a little bit. Sit and 2-1. That's an end to the other. Big time strikeout and motion as he gets out of the jam. Back to Joe's Park following this. Next up is Austin Riley. He stands at second base. Take a look at your means of pitch. It's a lead at second. Here's the pitch. Here's a up down. And this is going to get down to foul ball. Just the score that went away and stays alive. Another low in super. But I can see he's the first baseman. He's like six of first down. Oh, the biggest one is so there. He's got a chance to bring in the winning run. The question is whether they'll even pitch one. Here's the play. Just speed into it. Exactly, it's pretty good. I'm interested in being. Now the first pitch. Hammered the other way to deep field. And he puts this one away for the third out. So a great job there of working out a potential trouble. Braves strand one. We'll move to the third with no score. Top of the third set to get underway. And the next to bat will be Trevor Larnach. First 0-3. I love everything this pitcher's got working right now. He's got presence. He's got great body language on the mound. He's got fastball command and a nice early feel for his off-speed stuff. Garno is there. That would be Angles and Simmons. Yeah, chickens that were looking here to set up keep the game time. From the stretch. Cross pitch curveball runs into bits in the target.
They struggling to find at least one of that curveball. That wasn't a very good one. So now I just got to find that field because that's a pitch he's going to need going forward.
Garver on second with going away. This is bad, but it's ball two. He got kicks and deals. Taking one and it's 3-1 now.
You can clearly see that they didn't like that strike ball. And the manager, he didn't like it either, as he's giving the umpire an earful for that dugout.
Too close for comfort, and he did a good job just to make the 10. The next 3-2. And this is the fourth. So with one out, they will at least set up the double play possibility here that would get them out of the inning.
Finally, up to this point, the entire lineup had been swinging at Andy Rose, and this guy decides to show a little more patience than they did. It is New York with the base on bonus. That was a good at bat.
That looks horrible. We'll wrap up and hit for the pitcher here. First offering on its way. Both teams don't get the track pickup on. One and two.
The way this guy's throwing on the mound, you cannot be chasing. You have to set your sights a little bit lower and control the strike zone. One of the toughest pitches they get is a straight change of light and no movie. You see it in the back. What happens? It's the spring thing up right there. No chance to put that the play.
Next up, the next two are coming. It's like a look at this different thing that's happening. It's not being low. Third inning, no score to this moment. Pitch is popped up. No one can get there. It's a foul ball. Here's the 0-2. But there's one thing that slider that time, but it's 2-2.
Now 2-2, 2-on, 2-out. This is when you have to make a pitch right here. The last thing you want to do is run the count full to 3-2. Then the runners are going to be off to the races.
And seventh pitch of the at-bat coming up. So simple. Get the time with the simple. Is over. Back to back strikeouts keep them out of danger. Back to true. Back to the corner mills. Devin Smeltzer comes on to work on the mound to send this one into extra innings. Up next, Travis Darnell. Inning run, stands at second base. Set in the pit. Swinging strike on the fastball. That's a swung up and lifted in the air to left center. It's the first game this week in Blake. Appreciate the honesty right there. But 3 fastballs at this level, how good is it? Let's hear it. Dansby Swenson looking up to good. The first pitch to him is in there for a 12-strike run. The winning run at second, however, the double play in order here. It's a fact. It's in the bid and it's 1-0. Swing and a miss. Texas center field is running. So really only just a second. And with one swing in the back, this ball game is over. Everybody wants to be a hero. People know walk game winning ball. So you know right now if he's getting out by his teammates, he has to feel awfully good. Three nothing, the final score in this one today. The Atlanta Braves led this game from the third inning on. They never wavered. Max Fried takes home the win. So that will wrap things up for Mark Rosa, Dan Plesac, Heidi Rocky, and a photo on that excursion. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, head to theshow.com. For baseball now from the Warehouse District at Target Field here in downtown Minneapolis. Should be a good one here this afternoon between the Boston Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. And now, go 2000. We've got the show. It's coming next. Michael Pineda, a right-handed native of the Dominican Republic, will be the starter. What do we need to know here, Danny?
Well, one thing to look out for him, Matt, is that he can avoid the big inning. It's not that big of a deal to give up a run here or there, but sometimes he could be really getting up 3 or 4 beginning that kind of rails the whole start. And that was limited knowledge. And but the general went off today. Swinging hard down in front of the plate. Wheels and deals. Here's the first pitch. You always get a sense of the umpire's strike zone, usually early on in the game, and that's normally a pretty good clue. Second pitch of the game, and it's already looking like a tight zone.
1 out, nothing on. Simmons is good. Even trying to do this to the two. The next thing we got was Silver. Chance for to get on the team. The first we go in. Pitch on the way. In there for strike 1, 0-1.
Wouldn't mind the pitcher expanding the zone a little bit more and using his aggressiveness against them.
Krause a bit with a fastball variance to 1-1.
That's a great pitch for a spot like that. It looks like a strike that it just comes in out of the zone. You can command that with movement. It's a very effective pitch. Pitching hitters inside.
Sky in a very shallow lane. Chipler is there, makes the catch, and the side is retired. So not much happening here in the top bat for the first. And if the Twins are going to work on offense, we've got no score. Chris Sale, left-handed Floridian, will get the starting assignment. Dan Plesac, what's the word on it?
Hey, this ought to be fun to watch in this one here today. A guy with over 2,000 career strikeouts. Think about it. He knows how to get swings and misses, and he knows how to paint the corners. Hopefully, you're going to some of that in this one here, and he shouldn't be hurt baseman.
Now, the quality here is we used to looking when we things up, we win the coach. Those are now the pitch. Fouled away. One. A little looper down the left field line. There to take it in his ball direction. That's the first guy.
No second inning. Right. That's good.
So basically we're empty with 1 out. And that'll bring up the speedy outfielder Byron Buxton. First pitch on its way. It's up here, but the pitch is a cold strike anyway. Bases are empty, 1 man. Knocked him up. Devers is under it. 2 down. Digging in at the break one, but no, do it for him, and 2 down here in the fifth. The pit. Into his windup, the 1-0. And 2-0 as this one's taken low.
Well, this is a spot you'd like to be in. 2-0, good hitter. I'm going to turn it loose right here.
And you excited like that was for me and all. I'd be shocked with what's left in the 4th pitch wrong right here. He doesn't want to mess around and leave something over the plate to get into this situation. His ball 4. See if he can do the first base level of the blood. Let's see what
Yeah, they are nothing to be pitching around him. They're getting playing. Well, their base is empty in 2 outs, and the other, but it's over the plate. Make somebody else.
Now it would be the Minnesota DH, Josh Donaldson. He could make these fans go nuts and secure the win if he can place a ball deep enough into the gap. So look down the pitch. Right to the 35-year-old veteran. Nothing in order.
You can really tell they're trying to keep the ball in on this big slugger right here.
Is that an effort to keep him from getting extended, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the idea of that. But he might spin the win if he starts looking for it in there.
Well behind that fastball, it's a swinging strike.
If the offense didn't already know, man on the mound's got his A-game fastball working today.
And I don't mean, this is where the fastball. Slack hard behind the ring. Let's go. It's a in position to step in the next to be on the bank. See the look at a first big fastball for ball. Lifted the other way to left center. And it will end. They're able to cash in with 2 outs. Twin strand of pair. We are still scoreless. Second inning set to go, and that brings out the third baseman, Rafael Devers.
Rafael.
Here's the first pitch. Trying to check it, and it's on the wall. Here's the 0-1. Now a changeup in on the hands that evens it at 1-1. And there are umpires for this one. Working balls and strikes will be Mr. Daryl Parker.
Well, Daryl Parker behind addiction. You never really know what you're going to get from this guy.
Yeah, sometimes, and I hate to be mean and say flips a coin back there because that's not the case. But as an offensive player, you have to be consistent as someone you just can't.
Change up right there. Usually we're trying for something in this when you call that eventually the 2-strike count, but clearly he wasn't looking for it. So it's a backwards pay for him.
And that'll bring JD Martinez. So look at a fastball 2 high for ball 1. That they had against Michael Pineda, just 2 for 9.
I'd like to see him be looking to the opposite field with this next swing. Pitcher's trying to work you away.
A 2-0 pitch. Doing the fastball was against the swing and miss.
No, when you're facing pitcher like this, somebody down around the knees like that, but not. He is punishing whatever mistakes he makes, but so far he hasn't made them.
2-1. Yeah, even the 2-2. It's on second with 1 gun in the inning. 3 balls and 2 strikes to the DH for the Red Sox.
Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit.
Opens it quickly here, so that was going and then run at 30, which still only 1 away.
Nice line drive to right field right there. Dan, does it concern you when you're missing middle part of the plate early in the game? It does, dear. This is the kind of can't get those mistakes. Needs to look the place. Or, like that one right there. Just to stay out of the middle of the time.
Clearly, this is a critical moment in this ball game. Go ahead, run at third with 1 away. He does in those strikes and the Red Sox left fielder.
Great chance right here as a hitter to be really aggressive. But 2 guys already on. Pretty good shot. He's going to get a challenge pitch right here.
Here he comes on 2-0.
Well, he was definitely looking fastball here, and he got one. But that was good discipline to lay off and get himself into a 3-0 count.
The native Fossils. Here's the pitch. There's no select.
That's a big no. He obviously had to work carefully with 2 men out, but he did not run away through the low bases. Now he's really got his work done, and let's see if he fares here.
So it's bases loaded. Long way. And that will bring that outfield to the loose line. Here's the first pitch to him.
So you can head with the bases loaded, already a difficult situation. So you don't want to make it any harder by falling behind in the count.
To the zone next to next Hogan and move the strike. Just way too patient in this situation.
If the base is loaded like this is your chance to be the hero.
He's letting beat the 0-2 pitch. No, wants to stay right now. Losing third. He's being 2 for 8. First pitch of the AB. It's in the field. It's in the basic. It's in the steal from Michigan. It's a 2-point ball game.
This is a long way from being over you, but that big base hit right there because of the 2-run lead. Yeah, it would have been a question right there. Huge at bat. Gives his team the lead. Hopefully the pitcher's able to settle down now. He's got some runs on his back. He's able to go out and execute.
And that will bring up the former 4th rounder, Christian Arroyo. And we'll see if it's a federal play to the left. We'll see what he can do here. 2 on, 2 away, 2 home so far this inning. Working to minimize the damage here. So this one side is retired. So 2 runs on 2 base hits, no errors, and a couple of men left. On now to the bottom of the second. It's the Red Sox 2 and the Twins nothing. Here's Miguel Sano. He'll step in to start things out against Chris Sale. Set. Here's the nothing hit. Lifted in the air toward the line. And that's taken in near the line as the runner tags from second. As he takes photo. Next up is Mitch Garber. Pitch around in here with a couple of bases empty. It's not doing on its name. One or home. And don't extract it. Swinging a screaming, but this will be in a still family. And this is what even the thing too. Chip it. So you get someone to the only way. Okay. Full count is that misses. It's 3-2 now. Triple Larned, the number 8 hitter here, waits on deck. It's in there. Triple strike 3.
That strikeout changed the whole complexion of the inning. He was definitely pitching for not even going on third and one. A big guy. Now it's going to take a hit or something like a wild hitter to get that guy home.
The next batter will be Trevor Larned as he looks at a fastball that's in there for strike 1. Runner in scoring position with Sugan. Tying run at the plate, the 0-1. Maybe trying to put him up a bit with a fastball.
Spot hit here as a hitter. You have a base open, so you have to almost be trying to think like the pitcher. Is he going to try to pitch around me, or is he going to come and strike something?
2 outs here with a runner at third. Oh, strike, and he's been in 1-2. Well, strike for the Twins. Legs off 2-2 now. Working for the future. Well, 2-2 pitch. Angleton Simmons would be next. This is in a strikeout looking. Very rarely people win a game. You only play 2 hits, but you have to tip the cap of pitching and defense. Period on this one. A 2-0 finish today. The Boston Red Sox win this one despite banging out only 2 hits. Chris Sale pitches well enough to get the W. Michael Pineda, who completed 2 innings and is charged with a loss. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Flezak, Heidi Watney, and our entire crew, I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com.
The final line score for this afternoon's ball game. For the victorious Boston Red Sox, 2 runs on just 2 hits, no errors. They left 2 men on base. For the Twins, no run, just 1 hit, no errors. They left 3 men on base. The winning pitcher is Chris Sale. The loss goes to Michael Pineda. Top of the ball game, 2 hours and 28 minutes. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon. And we remind you to please drive home safely.
We are north of the border in Toronto, and the retractable roof is closed for comfort. Today, we've got a good matchup in store between the Chicago White Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Alongside Dan Plesac and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one.
Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business. Two guys that throw a lot of strikes. If their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers.
Blue Jays baseball starts right now. Robbie Ray, a southpaw from Tennessee, is the man on the mound. Dan, any thoughts?
Pretty good stuff from the left side. He's gone through a couple of different deliveries. He used to have that long, flowing delivery. Then went to that short pocket. But one thing he can do now, he's easily got that fastball. You'll know if he's out. If he hasn't good 1, 2, 3 innings, he'll go right away. Then Robbie Ray's on his A game.
Jim Anderson is going to start things off as he looks at the ball to start the inning 1-0.
First base.
He will offer that one, but it's 1-1. That's a ball and 2 strikes to
Looked like he was going to lay him out, see if he was going to come over the hard of the plate. Well, newsflash, he is, and this hitter's going to adjust his batting gloves, and he better be ready in the box.
1-2. And then pop it up the left side of the infield. Near forward is Guerrero. That's the first down.
They play a few. I mean,
Excuse me, please. First pitch on its way. Wind up. Here comes the one. This is a fastball. It's right on the black with Rudy to blow. That's 2-0 now. And set up behind the plate is Ricky Holiday, as you see the rest of our umpiring crew there.
Hey, you better be up there ready to swing with Ricky Holiday, particularly that. Yeah, I don't like that, Dan. As an offensive player, that's the one pitch that you almost can't get to with a power guy on the mound. I'm okay, we can give him a little bit on the corners. When you start getting north, it makes it super tough on the pitch.
And he lays off here, ball 4. Now we got the team's first base runner here with 1 away.
That's the beauty of having a guy that can hit like him. He's almost like another leadoff hitter, working a walk with just 1 out. I think there's a good chance that he's going to be on the move at some point.
Next to Chicago, Jose Abreu. The one with first represents the potential go-ahead splitter. Play he has to dive, but he's back in easily. Wisely, and then he looked to first. Keeping particularly close tabs on him. First offering on its way. And it's centered for strike 1.
With that base running threat on first base, man, does that change the pitcher's whole mentality. This guy at the plate should assume nothing but heaters coming right at him.
A strike now to Jose Abreu.
He's a veteran out on that mound. He understands he has to establish that inside fastball to open up the outer half of the plate. And fouls as well. Runner at first, he was 1 minute. Saws him up here as his ball's plunked into the air. The allowed there to make the play for number 2. Now here's the cleanup hitter for the White Sox. There, 2 down, and so they only had nothing first. Set, here it comes. Here it is. Very rarely does a pitcher like this leave one in a location like that. That's a pitcher right there he'd like to have back. He'd love to swing at that one again. Robert leads off first with a pair of outs in the inning. It's a breaking play, but it's laid off and doesn't find the zone. That's one of those. How could you not swing at that? But a good take there on that pitch. It's back being standing. And there he goes towards second. It's outs. He's in there at second. Getting second on that. So let's analyze it as he's got plus speed on his side, and you really see it represented in top speed. That really made the difference on that one. Second. That's good. And then we'll continue. That's the second. This is why it's so important to clean it or to get with the runners in scoring position. He does the best what he's supposed to do. Racing expected to. Next to bat will be the Cuban import, Yohan Moncada. It's the first pitch to him, runs a bit inside for ball 1. Runner in scoring position at second with 2 down. Last chance coming up for the Blue Jays. And it's quickly 1-0 Chicago. Lance Lynn, the right-hander out of Indiana, will be doing the pitching in this one. And please, Zach, what do you got? 2 words. Innings eater. Good fastball. He's incorporated a new 4-seam fastball up in the zone. Gets a lot of swings and misses and a lot of pop-ups. Lance Lynn has quietly turned himself into one of the top pitchers in baseball. I expected him to take really well. Now to the plate. What's up here? It might think off here in the bottom of the in over shift here now the pit. Wow. I'm going to zone strike 1. And it's 2 balls in the strike. Jays lead off batter. Swinging the over down 3-1. He's only 4 pitches in, but he doesn't look too sharp to start the day off. And the count will be full. And another foul. Right, again, 3-2. In the air to straightaway center field.
He's there and intended for the out.
Batting second. The second baseman. Target.
It's the event to on to Marcus Semien. His career numbers in this matchup. He carries a 421 batting average. He's taken him deep once. He's ready. Here's the first pitch. In the air out to center field. He's there now.
Batting first.
So the bases are going to go now. And Junior settles in the blue. Now the first pitch. And he misses again, 2-0. Two and one count to the Blue Jays first baseman.
I can't imagine that pitcher was trying to put it right over the heart of the plate. Thank God he took that pitch right there. He could get one back from the other.
2 balls and 2 strikes now. Final strike for the Blue Jays. Fouled away. Bases are empty here with 2 men out. Strike 3 called. The ending here, and this one is over. That game, that's what happened.
Well, it's 1-1 game. Forward battle. It's almost a shame somebody had to lose this.
A single run good enough to do it today. 1-0, the final score. The Chicago White Sox scored in every single inning on the way to victory. Lance Lynn earns the victory on the mound. Robbie Ray was unable to work out his second inning as he sat with the Victorian for Arthur Rosa, Dan Philzak, Heidi Buckney, and all through on that fast excursion. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, head to theshow.com.
No errors, and they left no runners on base. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 20.
Just a couple of miles from the Capitol building at beautiful Nationals Park in our nation's capital. Today, a matchup of NL East rivals between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals. Alongside Dan Plezak and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one.
Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business. Two guys that throw a lot of strikes, and if their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers.
Major League Baseball on the show starts now. Steven Strasburg, a California-born right-hander, is on the mound. And Plezak, what do you got?
Hey, we're getting a look at a real competitive pitcher here. Career ERA in the low threes, and that's not an easy thing to do in the day and age of small ballparks and guys swinging for the fences. Rock solid pitcher, does a lot of things well, and it'll be fun to watch him work. And that's what we here today. 37 here.
37, and we are ready for some daytime baseball. First offering. And out for an infield strike.
First base, I got
Here's the pitch. Designed, but that's in the dirt from the ball. High temperature, a very comfortable 72 degrees as we get things started. 1-1. He's strike 2.
He obviously found a great feel for that breaking ball while warming up before the game. Leadoff hitter get 2 curveballs, it's usually not the norm.
Here comes the 1-2. Not even sure. Let's see. James Segura standing in. His past numbers with Steven Strasburg. He's a 333 hitter. On the stretch, here's the pitch. Baseball taking a little into the letters, followed the strike. Lauren. Slack beyond the leg. It's Gamble Boy. He's got himself against it. And that's hitting him in the one right there, guys. The only way you're able to execute that type of base hit and that type of pitch is to recognize you stay calm, stay back, and trust the process. So and Bryce Butler will take the play. So look at a breaking ball, but misses for ball one. Long way, the runner at first represents the potential go-ahead score. Double play is in order, however. Now let's throw. Get back standing. A little jumpy there as he swings through the fastball. And there are our umpires for this one. Working the plate is Dave Lawrence.
Yeah, Dan, we got Dave Lawrence behind the dish tonight. One of the best in the game, I think. It's just in well-respected, accurate strike zone. People you get right there. He makes you bring the ball up the plate and give a little bit on the strike zone. I think the one thing that's important that he does, he has the same strike zone in the first inning. You'll see that same strike zone in the
Looking for the strikeout. Here's the 1-2. The limited inside with that one, a pretty easy take there. This is exactly the reason why this guy has been so successful and has played this game so long, scrambling pitch after pitch, making this guy work out. 2-2. This is the staying there easily as the throw bounces on the way down.
Look, he's certainly doing his best to get his team out to an early lead. Picks up the single and then decides that's not good enough. So he swipes second to get into scoring position. Now we'll see if the guys can take him up.
3-2 pick. It was the outside corner, strikes the lead. One thing to know is that one strikeouts about the people. Right there, he goes down, there was a strike, but he really made that guy the work for it.
When you're doing that in the first inning, it can have an effect on how deep he's going to be able to go in the start. There's a big difference between this.
The set of Wisconsin's on ball, no strikes to count. Oh, no. And it's about whack. No, for that 2 balls and a strike. Hit in the air down the right field line. And it's a foul. These are the moments right here. You got a good pitcher on the mound. You don't know if these opportunities are going to present themselves throughout the course of the game. You can capitalize in this situation. Well, next, simple as we Nearly fired up to work out of that gym. It's on to the bottom first. No score on the show. Zach Wheeler gets the starting assignment for the Phillies. Dan, any thoughts?
Man, this guy's one of the best right-handed arms in the game of baseball. I was fortunate to be able to be at Philly spring training camp a couple of years ago and watched him throw from the bullpen mound, and my mouth just wow, how good this guy is. And the explosive fastball down. So great. This is one of the top pitches in the game. If he's on, good luck getting it. This guy.
First pitch on the way. Lane Thomas start things off as to the ball to start the inning 1-0. Another pitch. That missed. Close. It's ball. Fastball catches the black there for a called strike.
And I still believe in my heart the best pitch was a well executed fastball down the way. That's exactly what that is. Who swings at that? That's off the end of the bat. That's not hard contact at all. It's an easy out.
Pitch on the way. Spread now 3-2.
You have to find a way to lay off that low sinker. There is just no way to do any damage. You're just looking at either a bruised shin or a ground out to the left side.
This is him in the air out toward left center. He will ranging backward as he just put the glove up and pumped it in for the first out.
That is second. It's second baseman. Number 40.
Striding in now for the Nats, number 3. This will be his first trip to the plate in this one. Here it comes. Had to swing there. Did he go down? Bases are empty. Chopper to short. First, two. So the next will be Ron Sutton. First cuts for him here with the Wilson's in 2-1. Infield in the overshift here now the pitch.
Yeah, I get it. What this guy's pitch count up, but that was a pretty good pitch to hit. He might be kicking himself that he can swing it that way.
Turns on and setting it deep. Still on the mark as it's off the it's always nice to get something done in one of those things, even with 2 runs. Now you're feeling my stuff like right has a chance to grab in the first one of the game. So that would be a job. As he goes out slightly, and the fastball here, no balls in his time. His career line against Wheeler. He's 3 for 9. He's set. You know what? So the second would see that. Well, the way things unfolded, I have a sense that this thing was going to end in the back. But actually, that's exactly what happened. A single run good enough to do it today. One inning, the final score. Washington scored every single inning on the way to victory. Steven Strasburg gets the W on the mound. Zach Wheeler couldn't get out of the first in this one as he takes the loss. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Flezak, Heidi Rodney, and our entire crew on Manifest Excursion. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com. From Miami, Florida, we get to enjoy the temperature-controlled atmosphere under the roof of Lone Depot Park. Today, we've got a good matchup ahead between the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins. Alongside Dan Flezak and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one.
Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business. Two guys that throw a lot of strikes, and if their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers.
Major League Baseball on the show is next. Sandy Alcantara is ready to go as he'll be on the mound for the Marlins. Dan Flezak, what's the word on it?
Well, this guy's kind of unique. How about a 5-pitch repertoire that he has? That gives him a lot of options for both righties and lefties. And if he's on, he could be really tough to hit.
How to play Jonathan Villar. You will lead this one off today. Okay. Here's the first pitch to him. This afternoon from Miami as the first pitch is taken for ball one. First pitch. 1-0 home. It's for the first strike.
You rarely see a pitcher of this quality throw one right down the middle, and man, as a hitter, probably a good chance you're not going to see that pitch again.
1-1. Sends on the second. And the game began. It's 1-1. The bases are empty with the first pitch. Rivers ranges back and has it for two. Digging in, the switch hitter, consistently. Prior history in this matchup, he's been 3 for 6. First pitch of the 80 on its way. 2 out, nobody on. That's over. Strike.
There's the heavy sinker right there. What makes that pitch so difficult to hit is not only does it change line levels, it actually changes plane. You go to hit it in one position, and it's 6 to 8 inches dropping off the table and chasing your hands. And put that in the memory bank. First time he breaks out a curveball right there, and it's a pretty good one.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Francisco Lindor.
He might have to look for a different way to put this guy away on 2-2. He's already seen the curveball a couple of times, so he might be looking for it.
The patients are go back on the curveball and third. It's full 3-2.
Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit.
Goes the other way as this is locking the left. Sees he two man left as he has to move as he handles it for the final left. And over go the Mets. It's the Mets nothing. Marlins coming up. You're watching Major League Baseball on the show. Jacob DeGrom, a right-hander from Florida, gets the ball as the starter here. What's your take on him, Dan?
Well, he's going to be fun to watch. He almost always is. He's proven to be one of the more dominant arms in all of baseball. And you can bet this opposing lineup is not too excited about having to face him. More often than not, he shuts teams down. So that's kind of what I expect from him in this one.
Now, leading on here and people know how to make things off here and they grab it for the first. Oh, what? Balls in there for strike one. Here's the 0-1 pitch.
That was a gas. Triple digits on the radar gun.
Here's the pitch.
That's a great pitch for a spot like that. It looks like a strike that it just comes in out of the zone. If you can command that with movement, it's a very effective pitch. Pitching hitters in something.
Tries to get him to reach for it, but it stays outside. 3-2. For Comfort, and he did a good job just to make contact. Well, that's it. This is exactly what we're looking for. Well,
I think for every player, for every former player, that swing right there is the reason we need to extend the netting without question. Want the fans to be safe.
Again, another foul ball. Six.
Second three base, but the opposing pitcher just keeps going higher and higher. He's still in front of the right. So this inning is off to a good start, but a guy's carrying the sticks.
So now the box is Jazz Chisholm. A winning run is at first base. So look now. So here at first with nobody out. That's right there, and we're even at one. There are players calling balls and strikes, and there's one Mr. James Kingsley.
Dan, I know I was an offensive player, but I'm okay being a pitcher's umpire. If you're going to consistently count that out of man, James Kingsley's usually going to give it to me. Hey, listen, there's a reason why we're favorites throughout the league. They come to king of that hill. You might have done a little bit off the strike zone. He's not afraid to put that on, but he's a very good pitcher's umpire.
Fastball, and he's well behind it with the swing. And he wasn't going to get that one within the 4. So strikeout, and there's one going. Got him in a good high fastball there. Danny, we see a lot of that pitch and strikeout situations these days. What makes it so effective?
I think that what makes it such a tough pitch is you're changing eye levels. That fastball up looks so enticing to hit. You see that ball as a hitter, you think you can drive it, but it's really hard to get up the top of that good fastball.
Oh, it's just thank you though. Comes on with one gun here as he looks at a ball and strike one. 1-1 to the Kansas Marlins first baseman. A fastball, but he's able to hold off. And it's 2-1 now. In the previous duel with the USP1, he brings a 4 for 12 line. He also has 1 home run. Even count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Open to send him packing, catch on its way. And he got it.
Classic slider down and away for the strikeout there. Not a whole lot to say about that. It's a hasn't done certain times already. That's just a real tough pitch right there. Pick up a pitcher's hand. So they end up chasing when they're in technical.
So here's the cleanup pick. Ryan Anderson in the line here, and a ball deep in the gap would make this place explode. Ready to deliver. Here comes the first pitch.
That's why this guy is great. Never misses over the hardwood plate. It's got electric stuff with pinpoint control. The full 4 slot.
That's an amazing. Never seen it like that. But here's your legs right there. Don't set it right where I'm coming from. And now Jesus Sanchez fouled away. He's sent the run. That misses downstairs for a double 1-1. Fastball was too much for him there. Scoring.
He's coming right after him, Matty. 3 fastballs in a row.
And it's fouled away. 3 down runners at first and second. And deep down the left field line. And listen,
He appears to be having some issues with pitch command to start. He's dealing with 2 guys on, and that last pitch looked like a big mistake in that location. Right down the middle, but he got away.
it's set. And the 1-2. And it's going to be high 2-2 now.
Now 2-2. This is the pitch where you want to attack the zone. If you go 3-2, then you put the runners in motion.
Good battle here. This will be the 7th pitch coming out. That fastball begins 3-2.
Looked like he tried to throw it a fastball and that 2-2 pitch there, but he had overhit with a pitch that it's pretty easy to leave.
The swing this year. I mean, token 31 pitches, but this side is finally retired. Marlins straightened the pair. And this is still a 0-0 ball game. New inning set to get underway. And up steps the power batter. Pete Alonso. Wheels and deals here for first pitch. Swinging the strike, and now it's 0-2. It's a pitch if you have the long pitch, 0-2. Multiple ways, up, down, in and out, throw the breaking ball. Steal from the base. It's so they slow.
to feel good as a hitter. Do you want to get that base hit to give your team lead? You have to feel good when you get down to first base. Yeah, it's just a nice approach. You're going to turn to his boys right there and get fired up with the dugout. 100%. Not trying to do too much. Able to quiet the moment down, center himself, and come through in a big spot.
Into the box now, Michael Conforto. As I take a look at an off-speed pitch here that misses for ball one. One all home. And a changeup swung this through the first inning. Good job of making the chase a pitch for the strikeout there.
Yeah, that's the advantage of getting ahead in the counts. You have to really force hitters to expand their zone or protect. And when they're in that mode, getting them to go after a pitch they can't do much with becomes a lot easier.
Here's some bigger bias. Seems like a false strike here on the borderline pitch. It's strike one. His prior history versus this arm, he's gone 3 for 8. Fastball misses inside. It's even at 1. It's on the corner before the behind him. 1-2.
Great job on those last 2 pitches of varying speeds. He gave a hard fastball, and then he locked him up with a changeup.
It's sharply on the ground with the left. He gets low for the 1-out base hit. Pick him on the ropes right there. There's 2 strikes against the bat. He's going to have to put that in the battery bank. It's 2 strikes by folks right there. But then 2 strike adjustment. So here's Jeff McNeil. That's the first pitch Steven is in there for the 12th strike alone. One's up at second. Bias. First, 1 gone. That's in there. And he's deep in the hole now, 1-2. And he'll hang in there as he reaches to foul this one away. Weak grounder down the line at third. And he'll smartly just ensure that this stays a foul ball. Another one sent foul. Now another 0-2. We're in the second, 1-0 Mets early on. Straight minutes on fixed there. So he used to be the chickens in the field. Hoping to limit the damage, here's the pitch. First pitch here is a sinker that runs a bit too wide. It's ball 1.
From an offensive standpoint, this is where you got to push the throttle right here. You've had a couple hits in the inning. You got a 1-0 out leverage. Let's see if he can gap something.
2-0 now. The 2-0. 3 and now.
His pitch count is getting up there in the inning now. He needs to get this frame over with sooner than later. So forcing contact and getting the defense involved is probably the best thing he can do.
A 3-0 pitch. Pitch misses for ball 4. So some intrigue now as the bases are loaded here with 2 away.
That's a nice job to work that walk right there. Even if it doesn't lead to anything on the scoreboard this inning, it prevents the pitcher from having to lead off in the next one. It's one of those small things that might go unnoticed, but in the end, it would make a big difference.
Number 20.
It's into 2 away now as he looks at the ball. Strike one. He could really open this lead up early if he can deliver here with the bases loaded. Comes set. The over. And now it's strike 2.
Put himself in a good position jumping ahead. Open 2 with the bases loaded. Now we'll see if he can finish it off.
Over and 2. Here it is. Slung out and lifted in the air to left side. With Bruce is there to make the catch and they'll escape the bases loaded jam by giving up just 1 run. Mets played a run on a couple of hits. Six 6'4" right-hander comes in out of the bullpen to do the pitching. The outfield could score. That's getting 1 from second. Here's the first pitch to him.
Looking for productive and here, get that look second over the third.
Next to is Lewis Brinson. And he's got a chance to tie things up here as the equalizer sits just 90 feet away. First pitch was winning. You want to be aggressive, and you get a pitch you can grow. It's popped up. This is going to run it up a 5.
This is a situation where you're going strictly for the strikeout. Infield in, and from the offensive standpoint, you're just trying to create.
Taking there, 2-1 now. And this is what still here on 3-2 as that pitch misses. It's ball 4.
And when first base opened, the last thing he wanted to do was give him something to hit a part of it. So no, I'm done. It's out anywhere now.
So that would be playing now for the potential tying run for him at third base. Ready to deliver. Here comes the first pitch. That fastball on the outside corner as you'll take a look at strike 1. And this is good. 1-1. Runners are at the corners with 1 man. That leads to a ball and 2 strikes now.
And as he pitches back to back off speed things late on that fastball, pretty much do anything he wants right there.
And even at 2-2 to the Marlins catcher. It's really simple. Season this guy is winning. How frustrating is that? Tries to carry something into 2 strikes and is empty. Basically, and find a way to get a soft liner to the opposite field. You know, sometimes swing as a pitching. You do it, he's going to pitch that. Sometimes as a people are good swing, but he still is actual base hole. You're Here it's on with her away as he looks at the back. It's the one. A little run at second. Now running the double play in over here. Wild home. But they would missed for the first shot. Rinson, second. It's upward first with 1 away. 1-2. He chases the slider.
Hey guys, he's got so much respect for this guy's fastball. You can tell he was out in front of that slider. I think he goes for the well one more time with it.
Doing second.
No, not sure the spin throw was necessary there, but it sure looked good. Would have been questionable if he threw it away, but he put it right on the money for the out.
So now to the plate, as he takes a 12 strike on the flag, it's only 2 hit it. It's gone on a wild pitch. We do the trick just as well. Set. The 0-1. There's a fastball well off the plate inside. And 2 now as Allen's foul. It's a second and third with 2 gone. So 2002 strikes. He was stricken up. And it could have been worse. The ending over with only a loop coming across the score. A big time strikeout and some low emotion as he gets out of the jam. Back to South Florida following this. A right-hander of Danning says Cleveland will take over the pitching duties here.
Number 53.
Oh. Second was stripping the Yanni. Well, needs to be switching in third baseman. Jonathan VR. Here's the first pitch. It's ball 1. Breaking all that team that misses out of the zone.
It's always a good idea to take a couple of pitches when you're facing a young arm like this one. Now he's put himself in a real good hitter scout.
They're laying a fastball in here to get the count back to 2-1. You know, he fell behind 2-0 back there, but he battled right there and got right back in this count. An aggressive fastball middle in zone. In front of him, change up, and he can't keep it fair. 2 strikes on him. 2-2. Well, slowly down the third baseline. The foul was in breaks it 2-2. This is a bit tight, maybe above the letters as well. So it's a full count now, 3-2. And he lays off there, ball 4. So the leadoff man is on here to begin inning number 3.
Well, he's a youngster. You can see he's a little nervous out there. Some people call it butterflies, but to him, it probably feels like pterodactyls are flying around in his gut. Going to be interesting to see if he can settle down here.
Here's Randy Newman. Wheels and deals. Here's the first pitch. One of them. He's the engineer for Triple City. It's going to flow up from the basic. One time you go into the game, you want to be really sure you can get there because you know you're already in stranded position, standing in second place to begin with. The only kind of work because it ended up being close together. But man, those outs at third are tough to throw. So here's Francisco Lindor now. So up a fastball in there on the outer half. It's 0-1. There are 2 gone and the possible go-ahead run at third. Comes set. 2-1. Misses. He pulls the top hand over. It's 0-2.
Count doesn't mean much to this batter. He's all in. He's not concerned with striking out, so he's going to get his A swing on it.
Foul away. No. Under first with 2 gone. Actually, 2 misses, and that will leave it to 1-2 now. One and two. Here it is.
Hey, expect a challenge right here. Does not want to run the count full.
Here's the 2-2. Not close to that when it's way above the strike zone.
Running count right here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, running on first. He'll be up to the races on this pitch.
It's sharply on the ground. They can't come up with it. Step the bag himself, and the inning is over. It's strand line. After 2.5, it remains a 1-1 ball game. Stepping in once again is Jazz Jizzica. He's got a chance to bring in the winning. The question is whether they'll even catch him. Ready to deliver. Here comes the first pitch. That's lifted the other way to left. There to make the catches. McNeil, and there's 1 away. Not tagging, will retreat to second base. Now, brother. He's just seconds to the ending to the second together to keep the game tied. On the stretch. The greatest of studs to the out as he reaches for one out zone for strike 1.
Got to sit middle when a guy's trying to pitch around you. If he's going to give you first base, take it.
And all the way. On the second year, 1 man. Got him swinging. Chased it well out of his zone, and there are 2 gone.
Really good late bite on that slider right there. The best ones out there on late action, they use darts at the last minute. They're so tough to get that good. When you've got that good slider going, it's a great strikeout pitch.
Like now, Ryan Anderson. So what's your first pitch curveball drop in there for strike one? One for one with a single so far. No, you know, sure. Sure. Well, when it gets started, three cities in England was the same as the team. What do you think? You played 3-4. Your turn. All set for the start of the fourth. Here comes the first baseman. He also. Takes this thing. Six. The little man was a good. The throw back here is a come. But you move up to third and nicely put it there with no way out. You want to talk about doing the job before there it is right there. Unselfish AB trying to work his guy from second to third, and look, what do you know? Not for yourself. Stepping in now, Michael Conforti. He takes a cold strike at the knees. It's only one. He has the possible go ahead run only 90 feet away at third base. Stick with the 0. It's over. Below, so one strike. In the birding booth, one move and 3 hits. No errors on the Mets line score so far. I don't know to a shit. Hit the post and sometime one go. Workers are sitting here one away. What's the adversity? First offering on its way. Then go ahead. Third, Alonso. A second will blow away. Change out low, 2-0.
He's got a couple of pitches to deal with right here, but he's starting to lose command of his pitches. Might be time to take a step back and try to refocus and making some good pitches.
2-0 on the one. And you type you at 3-0.
And remember here, there's an open base at first, so a walk is not the worst thing that could happen right here.
With the slider 3-0, but gets it over with the strike one.
You maybe get 2 pitches a game while all the guesswork goes out the window. This is certainly that situation.
Runners are in second and third with one down. Go on the first 2-1. It's still getting at me. It's a good year to go ahead and run the one from third with Sheen Lane. Here's the first pitch. It's his full way to make it. It's easy. And not in time if you don't score. Goes into second safely as they take the lead with 2 scoring on the play. But even we're in the middle of this one here, that's a big base hit. 2 of the guys. Yeah, you never know it's going to come in. When you see guys in scoring position, you're up to play. Your guys lined up, and you have to come through for the team. Great at bat right there. James McKeon is in for the second time here as he looks at one outside. It's 1-0. 2 out here and a runner at second. Come back with one there for the first strike. keep right back in 1-2. Misses and chased the 2 strikes, and that really looks like the side. So it's 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and a runner left. To the bottom of inning number 4 we go. It's the Mets 3 and the Marlins 1. So stepping in is Jesus Sanchez. Strikes in his last at bat.
Yeah, he's got to put their, especially the strong positions. Those punch outs will stick with you for a little while.
Right in the deal. Here comes the field pitch. Swung up and shot the foot. Scooped up. And they'll take this to the back himself for the first half. The double block. The runner moves up to third. Now, next up is Dylan Williams. This is empty. Set and head.
I'd like to see him be looking to the opposite field with this next swing. Pitcher's trying to work your way.
Lifted down the right and left.
He's going to be thinking about that pitch all night if he doesn't have a big game right here. He just put on shoulder and everything went with it.
They're in there for a full third strike, and there are 2 gone now.
That strikeout changes the whole complexion of the inning. He was definitely pitching for the middle of the third and 1 out. Now it's going to take a hit or something like a wild pitch to get that guy going.
And that'll bring in the multi-dimensional Lewis Brinson. He looks at a fastball that misses off the plate for ball 1. See his feet on the left side. Leaves and misses for strike number 2. Anderson, third with 2 out. Getting down to the last strike to first. Fourth for the out of the ball game is over.
It's not easy to win a game, but particularly when you only get 4 hits. But that's what good teams do when they play good baseball. It's not all about getting hits. It's about pitching, defense, and base running. They did those areas quite well in this one.
3-1 the final score this afternoon. New York leading the 4th and held on until the end. Carrasco is the winning pitcher of record, so that will wrap things up. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plezak, Heidi Watney, and our whole crew, I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, head to theshow.com.
The final line score for this afternoon's ball game. For the victorious New York Mets, 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors. They left 5 men on base. For the Marlins, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors. They left 6 men on base.
Place affectionately known as we're at Kaufman Stadium in Kansas City. Going to be a good one here between the Texas Rangers and the Kansas City Royals.
And now, go 2000 is Live Baseball. The City Royals.
Mike Minor, a southpaw from Tennessee, is the man on the mound. What do you have for us on him, Denny?
Hey, man, this guy has a good repertoire of pitches, and he throws also knuckle curveball. One guy comes to mind, Mike Buceta, former Oriole and Yankee pitcher, had a real good knuckle curve. It's not an easy pitch to learn. What's more difficult, it's a difficult pitch for umpires to call strikes. That's why we don't see a lot of pitchers using it today.
Stepping up is Leody Taveras, and we are ready for some daytime baseball. And the pitch misses for ball one as we are underway at Kaufman Stadium. Misses as well as he's behind the leadoff man this afternoon, 2-0 now. But a great afternoon for baseball, 73 degrees here at first pitch. 2-0.
And how about the other patience for the rookie in a big spot? These have been some tough pitches to lay off.
Just lay this one in there, 3-1.
Finally got one over. Nothing worse than starting the game with a four-pitch loss.
It's 3-1. Getting a miss, and that'll fill the count at 3-2. Sure took a healthy act that time.
Man, hard to understand why a guy who runs so well takes such a big act like that one.
Come on. Dozier is under, and that's the first guy to be in. Steps Isaiah to the left. And here it comes. From the fastball off the plate away, it's ball one. Skied in the straightaway right. It's been expecting plenty of time to put this away, however, and 2-0. So the next team, Texas, Luis Garcia, first chance scoring here in the top of the first. We nobody in. Minor has his target. Here's his offering. Sleep to the right side. A 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
But his pitcher's feeling the flow right now. 2 outs in the first inning. He's got really nice mechanics working right now. That's
And heading's in there for the 2-out base now.
nice AB right there. A little potential for some 2-out lightning. Getting a cleanup hitter to the pitch. After the first 2 batters at the end, he'll retire.
Maybe only being in now. That's the first pitch years have been high. It's ball one. There are 2 gone and the possible go-ahead run at first. There goes the pitch. He's in that little stolen base.
It's stealing of second there, and that really sets up the middle of this order to drive in a run and break this scoreless ball game. Always great if you can score first early in the game.
In scoring position at second with 2 down.
too hard. And it's 3-0. No, he was definitely looking fastball here, and he got one. But that was good discipline to lay off and get himself into a 3-0 count.
Hey, that one's in there. 3-1.
It'll be interesting if he comes in the zone aggressively again here, but the base open, he doesn't have to.
And set. And the 3-1 pitch. And that misses both full. So it's first and second now with 2 out. So it's first and second with 2 out. And into the pitch. Dr. really kept moving. I'm sick. Here's the nothing. Yes. That's why the first pitch and it's taken for 31.
Nice job of jumping ahead with strike one.
Gets away.
Well, you live by the story, you die by it too. You went with a tough speed pitch down in the zone, and that's the risk you take there. The catcher can't come up with it, and 2 runners advance. Now they're both in the scoring position.
Garcia at third, Young second with 2 down. It's actually called 22.
Definitely a big pitch coming up right here. He's going to be pumped that he can work his way out of this inning with the game still tied.
Take the swing there, and did he go? No, he didn't. Since the big it was the 2-2. Hit him here to slow away center. 10 was there. He this one away for the third. So great job there of working out a potential trouble. Rangers leave a pair. And now the Royals get their first shot at a sweetless ball game. Rihanna gets the starting assignment for Texas in this one. Dan, any thoughts?
Well, Matt, the first thing we're going to find out is how well this guy pitches with little sleep. I can't imagine knowing that you're going to be the next day starting pitcher the night before. This is a young guy making his fucking number. He can only make you take it one time. So we're going to have to be live. Hopefully he can settle down early and pitch well in his debut.
Turned on that one. Crushed it. Just played on the little. Staying away. And that's a base hit, so the pressure's on at the end.
Got it. That's shortstop.
Oh, perfect. Into the box, Nicky Lopez. As he looks at a fastball that's in there for strike one. Is at first base. Here's the pitch. Fastball just misses. That's ball one. And there are the umpires assigned to this one. Balls and strikes belong to Mr. Jerry Hillsdale.
Jerry Hillsdale might be one of the more solid everyday umpires in the league right now.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best in the business, Dan. High praise all around.
You go into both meet.
He just gets in ahead of the flow. Ready with 2 balls and a strike. There's a friend scoring.
You think in this situation, maybe with a base open, he just pitch around them and put him on first. But not with the guy in the on deck circle. He's going to attack this thing. In the air toward right center. Right fielder is on the run. Great diving catch for the first and making up the third safety here with one away.
That is funny. Look at it.
No. And up steps something from that. He lets it in the air and the outfield. Garcia. I'd be surprised if they send a leader. People doing the job, folks. He really just needed the left one to the outfield, and that's just what he did. Hey, a left sack fly isn't as dramatic as a game winning hit, but it's just as effective. Great team win right there. A single round good enough to do it today. One in the final score. Kansas City scored in every single inning on the way to victory. Mike Leonard, who's credited with the winner. Yeah, we get up in this one as he takes the loss. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Flezak, Andy Wiley, and our entire crew on that excursion. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com. MLB The Show has baseball on tap from lovely City Field in Flushing, Queens. A good matchup in store between the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets. Inside Dan Flezak and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one. Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business. Two guys that throw a lot of strikes, and if their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers. It's baseball on the show, and it's coming up next. Jacob DeGrom gets the starting nod for the Mets. What do we need to know here, Danny? Oh, man, if my life was on the line, Jacob DeGrom would be pitching that game for me. Approaches triple digits regularly. What way that don't seem fast. Season ago, he can stay in great slider. And change up the combination. I don't think there's a pitcher in the snow right now that has the tools and weapons and knows how to use them. Yeah, but is that the plate as he looks at ball one? This is as well as he's being unbelievable this afternoon. 2-0 now. Great afternoon for baseball here. 71 degrees, the temperature at first pitch. The powerful right-handed bat of Paul Goldschmidt. Down low. Nothing worse than starting the game with a four-pitch walk.
for 3-1.
I can see right there that the manager sticking up on center, making sure that that strike zone gets a little bit tighter. It's tough to cover both sides of the plate, and they both want that strike zone to be shrinked up a little bit.
He lays up for 1-4. The man is up to win the ball game.
That is not the way he wanted to start off this inning either. It's one thing to want a leadoff hitter, but it's even more painful when the leadoff hitter is an absolute burner, and he can really wreak some havoc on the bases.
Brings it for the shoot. Go ahead on the first, nobody out. First pitch on its way. Just off the outside that time, laid off for a ball. Hitman gets his lead at first, nobody out. Long strike to the Cardinals' first baseman.
I love the confidence in that pitch right there, going right after one of the better hitters on this team. Not afraid to execute.
It's 1-2. Here's a look over the first. Just keep it in flow. Change up, what's him up because he looks at the ball away. He's not going to feel good about that and that one should he? You have to want to stay in the bat, but he just went there, looked at 4 straight pitches. Hopefully, we'll see him get a little bit more aggressive next time. Anytime O'Neill, no, I don't miss out on the way for a ball. One of them hoping to discourage a steal attempt with the slide step here.
Yeah, that's a good way of trying to control the running game. Now, the problem with it, though, it has a tendency to throw your command off because you're worrying about that runner on the base.
Now, Adams the zone, strike one.
Speed at first and good speed with the guy at the dish. It's going to be tough to double up these guys. If you're an infielder, you got to get rid of it quick.
Runners on first with one down. No, there's a specific. Even gets his name. That's a big time ball right there. It's a tall task to blow him up.
But he got rid of it quickly, and it was a good job out there of trying to quick tag. They'll have to feel good about that.
Ball and 2 strikes. And fouls this one off. Bases are empty here with 2 men in. To the chance of getting that one and the inning is over. And good one off of St. Louis. 0. That's coming. It's a rematch of the 2006 NLCS, and it's on the show. Adam Wainwright is on the mound for the Cardinals. And Zach, what do you got?
Hey, you don't see a lot of guys that have 5 pitches, right? Sometimes it's hard to master even 2 or 3. But if you can master 5 like he has, you'll be in pretty good shape.
Now, the play here is Jonathan Villar. They lead things off here in the first.
Third baseman.
Will indeed make the play in foul territory for the first down.
Batting second. The center fielder. Right there.
Striking in is Brandon Newman. First pitch coming from Wainwright. Hit on the ground to short. Throw on the first stand. Wainwright has it working now. 2 away. That'll bring in the switch hitting and Cisco Lindor. First, again, the base is over. It's on the way.
Well, the key for him on the mound is to keep the ball down. Certainly, hollow of the knee or lower. Sinker changeup guy, if he's going to succeed against this lineup, he's got to keep the ball down.
Behind 0-2 now. Nothing into the pitch. One ball, two strikes. You're out, nobody on. Swing and a miss at a big breaking ball, and that's how the inning comes to an end. Mets go down 1, 2, 3. Still no score. Second inning set to go, and that'll bring in Nolan Arenado.
I think please.
First pitch of the evening of its lane. Shot in. I see that there's one going to be 7-7. She can stay lucky here to shut the level play to keep the game time. It's set. Here it comes. One of them. Set. Here comes the 1-1. Sky in the air to straightaway left. Is his tracks now as he makes the catch for number 2. That's too bad for St. Louis. Didn't give us an opportunity for him here to pick up that second 2. Sitting on its lane. Those Warriors be playing number 2. The 2 here, he just the ability to great question. So we have to focus making a good pitch right here. Now it's 1-2 now. Ball and 2 strikes. The old classic 2-strike. Let's go the fastball right down the middle. Not in this game. Gotta believe you gotta work the corner a little bit more. Fastball command is paramount as well. It's halfway. And it's an easy lead, and the inning is over. You need more. You go to the bottom of the second, no score. Frustration boiling over with an opportunity missed through an inning and a half. No score on the show. At the plate now is Pete Alonso. And he's got a chance to bring in the winning run. The question is whether they'll even catch him. First pitching was the second. Now it will be Michael from second. They might pitch around him here with a couple of bases empty. Still, here's the pitch. This is a situation where you're going strictly for the strike. Infield in, and from the offensive standpoint, you're just trying to create contact. And this is low, but no one is able to prevent it from getting away. This is here, but a good job behind the plate to keep it at arm's length. 2-1 pitch. To pitch to strike number 2. Still even at 2-2. Working for the punch out in the offering. Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit. Payoff pitch on. He's doing it back to the morning. It's the second. Pitch up the Indians. He's in a chance to wheel. He had enough of the three fancies open and he's about to wait till you land him. Here's the first pitch. You can really tell it right. That's big slaughter right here. Was that an effort to keep him from getting extended, do you think? Yeah, I think that's the idea, man. But he might spin the way that he starts looking for it in there. And on 3rd and 2 down. Ball on 2 strikes. Guess who tipped their hand that was sitting all over a piece of cheese? He flew open on the front side. Swing and a miss, and he fouled way outside the strike zone, and the inning is over. Clearly fired up to work out of that jam. 2 complete, still scoreless here on the show. Mets leave 1. We'll move to the 3rd with no score. Now back at Mundo Sosa, as we are all set to begin the 3rd inning of this one. At Mundo. First pitch on the game. The offense better get it going right here because they certainly can tell from their dugout. This guy is carrying himself with a presence out of the mound. He's got field with all his pitches. Some strike to St. Louis leadoff hitter. Big sweeping breaking ball right there. Good pitch. But if he wants to get it to swing at it, you'll have to bring it in a little bit closer to the strike zone. The 2-1. In the dirt here. No advance here, but it's 3-1 now. Hitters can't go up and let him go. Gets him the thing in this deal, 3-2. It's the first 2 of this year for the Red Wings. Attack. Yeah, the tension is going to have it. That's a good. Just in the city, time of the probably got anybody than you. You know what? That's okay. Great job at your best to handle the throw and get the 20. I mean, pretty much going to bad to check your film. Everybody's back in safety. So that'll bring in Harrison Bader. Starting breaking pitch here that flies the south. On its first represents the potential going and score. Double play is in order now. Some takes now. He's down 0-2. I'm not sure, but he may have been taking to give the guy at first a chance to run. Pitch. Swinging and a miss here as he's down in strikes. So 2 up, 2 down to begin the third.
Boy, that's really disappointing for a guy who has real right. It's up, he wants to just get on base and take advantage of the strength of his game, which is his speed. But then strike out right there. You get on first base and strike out.
Lars Newport. Rubber, look at the here is he'll hit for the Windsor. First pitch of the AB now. Nope. A breaking ball, but it's low. Number 2 gun and the possible go ahead run at first. A set and a line.
It's looking pretty passive here. You're gonna have to make something happen with 2 strikes out.
Ready with the 1-2. Yeah, that's a great take right there. Great pitch recognition. Let that one go.
Opposite-handed that's coming across the plate, you might think you got a shot to stay inside that.
Sosa is off first with 2 away. No steal. To do that, in the best case scenario for him is to push this one into extra innings. Next, Jeff McNeil. He stands in second base. First pitch, that's way. Nope. So you can chase the third and it's about 2. The second, got it back in safely. Now the 2-1 pitch. It's taking ball 3. Fouled away. That's 3-2.
That's a real nice location with that fastball up and in on the hands. Hard to do much with that because the hitter really can't extend his arms very easily.
Next up is James McKeon. Keep the game time. Here it is. It's ball taking, but he's on for a strike.
He'll be fine coming out of the bullpen of this one if he can keep the ball around the knees like that.
Now the 0-1. Listed in the air toward the line. Low on the left of the left field there. He's starting to make the change and get to and let's see what they can do. That's it. Look.
That's what you call doing the job, folks. He knew he just needed to lift one to the outfield, and that's just what he did. Hey, A walk-off sac fly isn't as dramatic as a game-winning hit, but it's just as effective. Great team win right there.
A single run good enough to do it today. 1-0 the final score. The New York Mets led this game from the third inning on and never wavered. Jacob DeGrom takes home the win. So that will wrap things up. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plesac, Heidi Watney, and our whole crew, I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, head to theshow.com.
The final line score for this afternoon for the victorious New York Mets. 1 run on no hits, no errors, and they left one down unavailable.
MLB The Show's coverage of Major League Baseball brings us to the great state of Florida and Lone Depot Park in Miami. Today, we've got a good matchup in store between the Chicago White Sox and the Miami Marlins. Alongside Dan Plesac and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one.
Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business, two guys that throw a lot of strikes, and if their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers.
It's Interleague Baseball on the show. Sandy Alcantara, a right-handed native of the Dominican Republic, will be the starter. Dan Plesac, what's the word of it?
Well, this guy's kind of unique. How about a 5-pitch repertoire that he has? That gives him a lot of options for both righties and lefties. And if he's on, he can be really tough to hit with.
And the shortstop, Tim Anderson. We just have to. Swing and since it's on the deep midfield. A solo shot here to get on the board first. It's 1-0.
We talk about starting a game off quick. We couldn't even get the lineup cards in yet. This guy's already going deep.
Matter will be Luis nothing. And if he was pitched to him, he's taking it away if the ball will not. Base is empty here with nobody out. Right side, but it's going to be a foul ball.
If you're on the mound right here, you got to trust your catcher and execute. You know who's coming up to the plate.
From the windup, the 1-1 pitch. Hit on the ground for the money.
That's not a bad pitch right there. That's a pretty good sinker. He just happens to put that one right into left field for a base hit. Yeah, he got the bat head out right there, Dan, and was able to get that one in left field.
Gibbs manages to get his hand in. So here's the slugging first baseman Jose Abreu now, as the sinker to him finds the zone for strike one. Robert at first, nobody out. Zone a bit, but strike 1-2. Time for a look at our umpires in this one. Behind the plate is James Kingsley.
Hey, Dero, James Kingley's a pretty good umpire. He doesn't get too excited. Keeps things under emotions. He's a pretty good ball and strike umpire. Yeah, James Kingsley will never show you up, and he's always approachable.
Set to deliver on 0-2. Here it comes. Jeff has the team has to 1-2. Nobody out, runner on first. Right, pick up the outside corner, but this misses, and it's back to even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I know he missed with a fastball right there, but this guy's arsenal, you can't figure out what he's trying to do. He's got a lot of different directions he can go in. Right?
The take there to lay off the high fastball. A 3-2 pitch. That's it, looking at the knees for the strikeout.
One thing to know is not all strikeouts are created equal. Right there, he goes down on strike. He really made that well. When you're doing that in the first inning, it can have an effect on how deep he's going to be able to go in the start. There's a big difference between that and going down on 3 or 4 pitches.
Like in a minute. No balls and a strike to count. Runner at first here, 1 man out. Now a throw over. Hey, back in there. So they don't know what pitch. This is the it's any second. That's like any time forward there. It's a 4 base before anything. I think I played a good job in there. Their tag. That was the field. Good about that one. 1-1. Reeves, this is first look number 2.
Yeah, guys, he's got so much respect for this guy's fastball. You can tell he was out in front on that.
But the first ball is that straight 3 to return to the second. But they're off to a good start as they pick up a run on this solo shot. Last chance coming up here for the Marlins. It's now 1-0 Chicago. Lance Lynn gets the ball for the White Sox in this one. What's your take on him, Dan?
2 words: innings eater. Good fastball. He's incorporated a new 4-seam fastball up in the zone. Gets a lot of swings and misses and a lot of ups. Lance Lynn has quietly turned himself into one of the top pitchers in baseball. Nice step of the pitch. Really well today.
Ready now is McGill Williams. It late days early on the fly ball right down the line. Run is Jimenez. He gets there to make the play for the first out of the inning.
Batting second. The second baseman.
Yeah. Yes, next from Miami, Jazz Chisholm. He's ready. Here's the first pitch. That's over, but Lloyd wants the ball on the strike. Grounded down the third baseline. He's coming to the runner that pitched 3 times in a row. Interested to see if he changes it up right here. And stop it away. Look now. I'll try to get good fishing there, but he won dirt in his back. He even at 2-2. Not where I wanted that fastball to be. That's 3-2 now. Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit. Lifted the other way down to left field line. He chases Jimenez. Take a round in the corner. And he is in at second base with a 1-out double.
Well, I really never did about that one now. It was over his head before you bouncing off the base of the wall for an easy double. Those are the kind of shots anyone would feel good about.
And now he's just spectacular. Since I had that 12 strike here on Riverman and pitch, it's strike one. They'll go to work on getting that tying run home from second. And comes sit down with the only one. And it's one. But that thing on 0-2, so we do it again. Second base. I mean, this with it's a 1-2. He didn't overly move right there because a lot of pitchers will go to the breaking stuff 0-2, but he certainly looked ready for a breaker on that pitch. Here comes the 1-2. In the third here, but it won't skip far enough for the runner to advance. Runner at second here with one. Change up. This is 3-2. Well, this is pretty good at that right there. From down in the count of 0-2 to work the count back to 3-2. And he's seen a lot of pitches too. Spinning the ball back to second, on him back safely. That's 3-2. Get the limit. He was 3-2. And for the big forward, they can use it. They need it's not one thing. It's delivery to him. Ready with the 0-1. Size of looking back even thanks to him. And I'll try to shorten up maybe and protect the plate. Miami down to the last strike. Go to the ball game is over as they get the pieces of something over the third, but can't get enough. Staying known good enough to do it today. 1-0 final score. Chicago jumped out to an early lead in the first and never looked back. Lance Lynn earns the victory on the mound. Danny Alcantara lasted only an inning in a losing effort. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plezak, Heidi Watney, and our entire crew on Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com.
Our final line score this afternoon First for the victorious White Sox. One run on 2 hits. No errors.
Queen City, we're live inside Greenwich Park in Cincinnati, Ohio. Today, we'll see a contest from the National League Central between the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. It's baseball, it's the show, and it comes your way next. Luis Castillo will be the one towing the rubber for the Reds. What do you have for us on him, Denny?
That will get a look at one of the best right-handed changeups in the game of baseball. This guy's changeup's so good that being Castillo, he'll use it as his primary off-speed pitch. If he's throwing strikes with his heater, look out if he has that changeup working. It'll be a long day for the Higgins.
And Madrigal. We are ready for some daytime baseball. Our first pitch of the afternoon is taken for ball one as we are underway here in Cincy. Now, this is his relentless. He's been the leadoff man this afternoon, 2-0 now. Great afternoon for baseball here, 71 degrees, the temperature at first pitch. 2-1 down the pitch. He's waiting for the first strike.
Gutsy pitch right there. 2-0 changeup for a strike. Good call by the catcher. Great execution by the pitcher.
2-1 one. Get out to second. Steve again. 18. First trip to the plate forward in bumping. Now here's the pitch. Hello. The 2-1. But in there for strike one.
Let's get it going, boys. Somebody's loose, hitting 98 with ease in the first inning.
Now the 2-1 pitch. Yeah, that's for goal 3. Ian Pack will be next. Ready on 3-1. Here it comes. Now a ball way toward the alley in left center. Winker lends to his left as he tracks this one down in left center for the second out of the inning. Base is empty 2 away. 11 up the former first rounder and Pittsburgh area native Ian Happ. And the pitch. And deep down the left field line. But this is just going to wind up being a foul ball. You could tell he was guessing right there, and he certainly wasn't guessing changeup. That pitch was in his wheelhouse, and he was very good. Just underway here in Cincinnati. That's mostly strike 3, and the inning is over. Cubs are down in order. It's the Cubs and 0 with the Reds coming to bat. You're watching Major League Baseball on the show. Kyle Hendricks, the California-born right-hander, is on the mound. What do we need to know here, Danny?
Hey, it's hard to have all four of your pitches on. But I think if this guy can have two or three of his four pitches and have command of them, he's going to have a really good game.
Jonathan India digging in now. They lead things up here in the
And they give up a rolling red. A second baseman.
No, no, no. And, this is for ball one. Out one, oh.
Now for the Reds, Jesse Winter. His matchup numbers with Hendricks, adding a robust 350. He's taken him deep once. The field shifted well to the right. Here's the first pitch. Very quickly there, but he doesn't distract the enemy. Maybe he needs one of the good students. There's for him. This is happening. Here it comes. Bases are empty here with 2 men in. And 2-0 now as this list below the knee.
If you've been paying attention, the guy on the mound does not want to come inside. If I'm at the plate, I'm leaning out over.
No, I'd be shocked if this wasn't a 4-pitch walk right here. He doesn't want to mess around and leave something over the heart of the plate to get beat in this situation. It's ball four. The CD the first base runner of the ball game now. It's 2 away.
Three of those pitches were definitely out of the but that makes it pretty darn good to me. You're not usually going to give them any favorable calls on 3-0 though.
Here's Joey Votto now. First pitch to him is in there for a full strike one. He could make these fans go nuts and secure the win if he can place a ball deep enough into the gap. Down to the Reds first baseman. Castellanos leads off first with a pair of outs in the inning. Climbing the right side. As it turns out, the 2-out walk doesn't come around to haunt him as that ends the inning. Reds lead 1. We are still scoreless. New inning set to get underway, and stepping up to hit next, the catcher Wilson Contreras. First pitching
Not too often you see this hitter come outside his game plan, outside the zone, but that pitch was just so tempting.
Ready with the 0-1 pitch. Jerry looks to be playing inside. They're 1-4 to make the pitch for the first half. Number 15. She can say one good here to set up the ability to keep the game tight. From the stretch. This fastball off the plate there, and it's ball. And this one's in the dirt. One will stay put, but the count moves to 2-0. Still looking for our first hit in the ball game. Green. The lefty Jason Hayward waits in the on-deck circle. with the 3-0 pitch. Right, this is he gets it. Yeah, there's some spectacularnesses that still manage to get the out at first. It's got caught in take over following an injury.
Now playing Thursday. Number 3. And
Jason Healy. Lifetime in this matchup. He got it getting right at a 300. He's got 2 of those hits in the third. First pitch on its way. Third. Goes to immediate runs in scoring. They take an only 1-0 lead. But it has to feel good as a hitter. Do you get that base hit to get your team lead? You have to feel good when you get down to first base. And it's just a nice approach. You see him turn to his boys right there and get fired up with the dugout. 100%. Not trying to do too much. Able to play down. Center himself in baseball. Now is Nico Horner. Swing. Indeed. He gets the makes the living play and ends the inning. So 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left. The third baseman, Mike Moustakas, now his matchup numbers with Hendricks. He's going 4 hits, 16 shots. He also has the first baseman. This is looking for and second over the third. I'm sitting in easily have gone the other way. There's a big difference between 0-2 and 1-1. But now this next pitch probably becomes the biggest of the event. Can't keep look back when he falls behind 1-2. He's gone to the well with that pitch 3 times in a row. I'm interested to see if he changes it up right now. It's a low that time now. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He takes double four. You know, fans are going here to be in the ball for a second. The reasoning in this game that this guy has a 10-10 to give up. And what work has been? It's only repeats itself as he's already been around 2 walks here. I'll tell you, effectively wild is a pretty tough thing to be. Next up will be Kyle Farmer, trying here to plate the tying run consecutive. First pitch of the NBA on TV. It's on after this guy that's right where you want to miss. Any lower, they don't probably make you pay for it. Has to be a challenge pitch coming up here. He probably does a lot of fun for loading the bases. But now, let's see. Moustakas when it first with nobody out. He can see the left field. He's in real trouble to let the beginning. It's not all that bad yet. But really with the bases loaded, it'll make it pretty tough for him. Johnson is swinging to the shortstop of the Reds. But a pitcher puts you in a proverbial rocking chair like he's doing right now,
You have to take a deep breath. You can't start trying to guess along with them. Trust your fundamentals and stay on that bed. 3-2 pick. Pays off there. So back walk tap him in distance here with nobody out. He could get the early look if he could be a little bit more precise here. That's walk number 2 in the inning, and we're only at the 7th. So here's Tyler Maitland. It's on third base. Here's the first pitch. Tinkered up and being there for the strike one. Pitcher on the mound has to find a way to minimize damage right here. Gotta believe he's willing to trade 2 outs for a run. Let me get the young pitch. This is a huge situation in the game here. Right, he's got to keep it simple. He can't try to do too much just because the bases are huge. At the very least, just find a way to get that team out there. Hard before the bases loaded here, nobody out. Change strike 3 as he rolls his eyes at the top, run away. Well, that call looked like it was a little in favor, but you know, that would be great to say. Listen, the board calls it strikes. It's a really tough job, and even the best are going to miss something from time to time, especially when they're sort of borderline like that back. Not sure the hitter will want to hear that though. So now to the plate, Tucker. This is team's ball 1. His matchup numbers with Hendricks. He's got 12 hits and 43 strikeouts. Second inning here, the front blue doesn't really run nothing. It's handy that he's telling something. No, put anybody. 2-0, not a good spot to be at the pickup. Third baseman. Wilson, 2 strikes to let's answer. Well, I love the way he's competing out there. He's got to change the back-to-back days with 2 runners in scoring position. He's not getting in it. Yeah, 2-2. He sends it a play. Then it's lifted the other way to left. Left. Here comes the runner for the play. Down there, they look pretty simple. Got it into the outfield to bring home the Tyler Stevenson ran a bat hit for the pitcher. Delivery to him. As he lays off the one he's on. He's all over the place. It's 2 on, 2 out, and of course, here in inning number 2. Tardy on that swing as it's well wide first. Well, he's been laboring a bit for these first 2 weeks of work. That's 37 pitches, and ideally, he'd be closer to 27 instead. Just the second inning, but already 37 pitches to this inning. It's 2-2. Swing high, field and deep. Looking at
Any left, and no bigger than that one as this ball game is over.
Well, they say better late than never, and that's obviously something that he takes to heart. If he put the charge in one for a walk-off moment, it's got to be the best feeling in all of baseball.
And the score finishes a 4-11 today. Cincinnati took the lead in the second inning and rode that until the very end. Luis Castillo gets the W on the mound. Work out of the second inning as he started with the low. So that will wrap things up for Mark DeRosa, Dan Plesac, Heidi Rockney, and through I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, head to theshow.com. The lights are on. We're ready for baseball north of the border at Rogers Center in downtown Toronto. A good matchup here for you tonight between the LA Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. Side Dan Plesac and Mark DeRosa, and Danny, as pitching matchups go, it doesn't get much better than what we've got here for this one.
Well, Matt, these are two of the best in the business. Two guys that throw a lot of strikes, and if their game is on, we should have a very low-scoring ball game with these two elite starting pitchers.
It's Blue Jays baseball, and it comes your way next. Robbie Ray gets the starting assignment in this one for the Jays. Dan Plesac, what's the word on it?
Pretty good stuff from the left side. He's going through a couple of different deliveries. He used to have that long flowing delivery. Then went to that short. He can do that. So he can really long early if he has a quick 1, 2, 3, and he'll go that way that Robbie Ray's what I say game.
Now the first pitch. Mookie Betts gets him to start things off as he looks it over to start the inning 1-0. One and one to the Dodgers leadoff man. And we keep a hot chocolate flowing tonight. 42 degrees our game time temperature. 3-1 now to Mookie. Now the 2-1 pitch.
Having a little trouble finding the zone to start the night. It's always deflating to walk the leadoff guy in the game. So we'll see if he can initiate some contact here.
Slamming a simply hit ground ball. Yes, again, here's the pitch. Swing, a line, field and deep, racing back to the field. A solo shot here to left as they've taken a one-run lead.
Oh, and that was really close to a long out. The left fielder had a beat on it, and he gave it a great effort, but he couldn't quite bring it back. Instead, it's a triple basis. Here's Corey Seager.
They'll still take one up in the zone, but we can do the strike zone for the first strike. Lifetime numbers against Robbie Ray. Comes in with 6 hits and 35 ABs. He's also hit a couple of home runs against him. Behind 0-2 now.
All the makings of the big inning right here. One already left the yard, and the power hitters are coming up.
The windup. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Misses there. 1-2. And the knuckle curve that's and that's the first step.
Not a lot of guys for that knuckle curve, but some guys have a lot of success with it. Some say it has more tight than educational curveball, when I think it's more real thing. It just works for certain pitchers. It didn't work right there.
Now it's a straight turn. So we look at a first pitch fastball for Glenn. Bases are empty, 1 man out. On a strike now. Now here's the pitch. He tried to get that one barreled, but it's missing the 2. Breaking ball that time, it misses out of the zone. Swing and a liner. Going to do 5 and keeps things at 2-2. And good pitching to hold back on the third ball from third. It's still now 3-2.
Well, you don't see it all that often, but this might be a good time for a 3-2 change. If he can locate it, it's nearly impossible to hit.
Too close for comfort, and he did a good job just to make the 10. Making him work out there. The 9th pitch of the at-bat coming up. Hit the other way out towards the field. Hernandez goes over to his left as he puts this one away and shooting.
The first baseman. Back. Home season.
Bases are empty here with 2-8. And the Big Ben, Max Muncy. First pitch of the AB on its way. Fouled away. Here comes the 0-2 pitch.
That was a tempting pitch to swing at right there. A big power guy like this really wants something that he can elevate and drive out of the ballpark.
The slider across that time laid off for a ball. Fouled off.
You're lucky if you get one pitch a night right down the middle. Cannot be late on that fastball.
And it's fouled away.
You know, taking you inside the mind of a batter right here, you can't get in auto swing mode. You still have to control the strike zone.
But another look here at the solo shot leading off the ball game. One last shot for the Jays coming up, and LA's off to an early 1-0 lead. Max Scherzer gets the start for Los Angeles in this one. What do you have for us on it, Danny?
Max Scherzer, Hall of Famous Max, not Agent 99. This is one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball. Offered a mid-90s fastball, powerhouse flyer, and a great changeup. If he brings his A game, it's lights out the opposing team.
Here's George Springer. He'll lead things off here.
The center field. Go. Oh.
Infield in the overshift here. Now the pitch. Lined up and the 0-1. Hanging in there, and it's 0-2 now.
What a well-executed fastball right there, down and away. If you're going to do any damage with that pitch, you have to think up the middle the other way. You have to dive in.
So he chased out of the strike zone on that one. George Springer is retired. Set the fingers down here on the bottom here for the first. Into the box now. Marcus Semien. And she'll take a look at a slider here that misses for ball one. No. So let's take a peek at the umpiring crew in this one. Behind the plate is Ricky Holiday.
Yeah, Dan, we got Ricky Holiday behind the dish tonight. I can't figure his zone out. He doesn't favor the hitter or the pitcher and can be a little too inconsistent at times. Diego, you hit the nail right on it. I think one of the things we were looking for was the system. It's a delete zone, it's a right zone. Have the same zone. His zone fluctuates a little bit too much for my liking during the course of a game.
Great pitch there as he couldn't get extended on that. And he's down on strikes for the second out.
The main job of a number 1 and 2 hitters is to set the middle of the order. It's an opportunity to do some damage. So don't strike both of them. You're putting yourself in a pretty good position to make it to the teeth of the lineup without a whole lot of stress.
Now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Scherzer's able to move ahead of him with striking out, looking to get on base and keep this first inning alive. Pitch taken several inches below the zone, in fact.
Back-to-back strikeouts in the first right here. Pitcher is setting the tone pound in the zone.
A 2-1 count to the Blue Jays first baseman. Bases are empty here with 2 men out. And a fly ball. And this should do it. She's made as this ball game is over. 1-1 held up tonight. 1-0 the final. Los Angeles scored in every single inning on the way to victory. Max Scherzer is the winning pitcher of record. Bobby Ray lasted only an inning in a losing effort. So that's a wrap here tonight. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plezak, and Heidi Watkey, this is Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, find us on Twitter at MLB The Show. Baseball under the Tropicana in St. Pete. Ought to be a good one here between the San Diego Padres and the Tampa Bay Rays.
And now, go 2000.
It's Rays baseball, and it's nice.
Play.
Chris Archer, a right-hander from North Carolina, is the man on the mound. Dan, any thoughts?
Well, I think the key for him is going to be locating strikes and forcing soft contact. He doesn't have dominant stuff compared to some other guys, but if he executes, he can still be very effective. We'll see how he does.
Next is for him, Tennessee's GM. Get us started in this one. We're ready to the first pitch. And the first pitch of the night here is low bat for ball one, and they are underway in Tampa. And the one pitch. I and beat the left center field. Here, my house. So the solo shot here in the left center field. So they get on the board first. It's 1-0.
This guy has some pop. You can't just lay one in there. What happens? He leaves the game off just like that. It's 1-0.
This Manny Machado. This is foul to the left and up. One strike now from Archer.
All the makings of a big inning right here. One already left the yard, and the power hitters are coming up.
1-1. Line drive to left. Meadows has it. Meadows run away.
That was good. Good flip play. Dave. Well, there.
The base is empty, and that will bring up Jake Cronenworth. And now the first pitch. High in the air out to center field. Kiermaier's got the read on it. 2 guns. Next to the plate for the Padres, Will Myers. Infield in the overshift here. Now the pitch. No balls and 1 strike.
Hey, when you're featuring a mid-90s fastball like this pitcher, attack with that pitch. Get ahead. Get the offense on their toes. That opens up the off-speed pitches later in the game.
Behind 0-2 now. Nothing in 2 count and the pitch. One scores in the inning coming on this solo home run. The last chance for the Rays coming up. It's 1-0 San Diego. Yu Darvish gets the start for San Diego in this one. And please, Zach, what do you got?
Hey, man, we're going to get a chance to look at a good veteran pitcher here. This guy's been around the block a few times, but one of the things he does, He still competes at a high level. He's never stopped to learn to be a good pitcher.
Stepping up is Raymond Webb. They lead things off the other night for what's in here. And here it comes. Oh, and here it comes. Late curveball. They're really folding with that one. Hey, if he's going to execute that curveball, that's the first guy of the day. If he's going to execute it like that, be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a big pitch with it, too. He's ready. He's the 0-2 pitch. Up the middle. Cleanly. And then it's the finish down.
That's good stuff.
Good. Good. Needs to do is wonderful. Ready to deliver. Here comes the first pitch. And cut a little too much of a ball and a strike. And there are the umpires assigned to this one. Calling balls and strikes is Mr. Mike Fillmore.
Hey, D-Roll, Mike Fillmore, give a little bit off the edges, but he gets the respect not only from the pitchers, but from the players because his tone is consistent.
Yeah, as long as he's consistent, Dan, he'll play with the Fillmore tone. If the pitcher's doing, he has to get a little bit off the outer edge. Okay. Yeah, that's trouble. Yes, thanks for playing for the reaction from the going to make the backhand stuff, and then he unleashes a very strong throw in the air all the way across the diamond. He's going to be smiling about that one. Gina and Troy, the next to him. And garbage down for him here with strike one. First cuts for him here with the bases open and 2 away. He takes it to the opposite field. Deep to left. He's rolling the plate. So a solo shot down the line, and this ball game is tied at 1.
Well, his offense spotted him a run in the top of the inning, but he just gave it right back. That's what happens when you plant one in a hitter's wheelhouse. Sent out of here in a hurry.
There's Nelson. See what takes the fact that here looking at the screen, looking down base and keep this first in the line. Ready with the all. What is it? Two out, nobody in. You ain't just fun. One for the Rays on the solo home run. We'll head to the top of the second, all even at one apiece.
All set for the start of the inning. Standing in is DH. Tommy Finn.
It doesn't be.
Kicks and deep. Down to 1-0. Slide off for 2. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear they don't want to challenge this guy right there, but working around a guy, we come back to bite you at times. Now the 2 balls and strike to count. Two more to go. Swing on Winston. That's down 2. Swing and Winston. He got the first guy hit for the first down. Got him with a good fastball there. Then you can see a lot of pitching striking situations these days. What makes it so effective? I think now what makes it such a tough pitch is you're changing eye level. That fastball looks so enticing to hit. You see that ball as a hitter, you think you can drive it, but it's really hard to get on top of that good high fastball. Management Eric Hosmer is in. Strike low to start the at bat. On the strike to the race first baseman. One and two. I think that's what you call a challenge fastball right there, boys. I don't know if he was necessarily trying to mess up in his zone like he did, but he got away with it right there and put the fastball on him. Just a bit low. It's 2-2. He's certainly pushing the throttle and pulling it with those 4 pitches. Statistics class tells me I'm sitting fast. 3-10. Victor Caratini waits on deck. Myers on second with one away. This is 4, so it's first and second now. We're only one away. I'm sure the manager is fine with that. He tried to entice him with that 3-2 pitch, but he didn't take the bait. First base was open though, so he just needs to make a good pitch for a ground ball. So that up here is Victor Caratini looking to put them ahead early with this at bat. Here's the first pitch. Awesome execution right there. Great pitcher's pitch and an excellent job to get ahead of the tough spot. Here to come. A little jumpy there as he slows through the fastball. Hey, if this guy did execute that two-seater down on the way consistently, he's going to get a lot of swing and misses. He's going to get a lot of read contact. He might even get a few knots on some people's shows. Oh, the fastball down a little too much there. That's ball 1. First and second now, 1 man. It's a 2-2 count to the Braves catcher. I know he missed with a fastball right there, but this guy's arsenal, you can't figure out what he's trying to do. He's got a lot of different directions he can go in right now. Set. Here's the 2-2. Skied into straightaway lane. Is there. So next to it is it should be and 0. Here's the pitch. In there. No doubt for the strike.
It's a fastball, weak off the plate for a ball. Set and deliver. He's coming right after him now. 3 fastballs in a row. Now still at 1-2.
Great job by the pitcher right there to put him in the proverbial rocking chair. Slowed him down, sped him up, slowed him down. Let's see where he's going now.
The set and the 1-2. And they're going to do something. Next, here, go ahead and line one for the tipping of 2. Bring it to it. Ultimately ruled the ball.
The fact that he's not scared to go right back inside with another fastball. I know he hit the last guy, but if he's going to have success, he's got to establish that pitching.
It's 2.
It often becomes harder to hit the zone where the pressure starts to heat up.
And 6 here, 3-0.
He's really going to need to keep the walks down in this start. He's in danger of walking the second guy in 2 innings here.
Fastball on the near third, taken for the strike.
Taking all the way there, a walk would be huge here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got the bat on his shoulder again on the next pitch.
The stretch to a 3 in the dirty behind the plate. Runners are a little tight, but it's a full count now. 3-2. Let's see. You see the pitching coach, Nathan, is way out to the visiting. Batting over 2 is sent to do from Tatis Jr. Given the situation, he's got an opportunity to hold this game wide open.
Yeah, that going back to that last at that, but you have to like that was a fast game that was so right now. I think you try to keep the ball and the knees are below. He doesn't handle that low pitch quite as well. That's 40 pitches for him already. This doesn't have the makings of a start that he's going to go very deep.
Coming up now on 30 pitches in the inning. And it's one off. One and two. Here it is. Got it. And the damage lines up between as bad as he put it because they'll strand the bases loaded. The sun is the team. So a runner on no hits, and they wind up leaving the bases loaded. We'll go to the bottom half of inning number 2. Padres lead it 2-1. So stepping in is Austin Meadows. Base 9 to the outfield. Tying run from second. On the stretch. Here's outside for goal 1.
Looking for productive at bat here. Get that runner from second over to third. They have to change your game plan in the box right here. If he's going to pound away, might have to work the opposite field.
Almost momentum when he connects, so he finds himself down 1-2 now. I wouldn't be surprised if he used his aggressiveness against him right here. If you're going to get a swing outside the zone, might as well fish a little bit further. Here comes the 1-2. It's a full strike 3 on the corner.
Well, that call looked like it was a little in the pitcher's favor, but it wasn't that great. Hey, listen, going balls and strikes is a really tough job, and even the best are going to miss from time to time, especially when they're sort of borderline like that last one. Not sure the hitter will want to hear that stuff.
Here's Randy Rosarena. So take a look at ball one. We're going to work on getting a 21 running from second. What about the implementations for the rookie and big? We could get some tough pitches for the world. They're taking for a strike. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
Been taking all the way right there. That pitch could have split the strike zone any better. And you could bet he wants that with that. Right?
Here now, 2-2. Swung out and Misty got him on strikes.
Really good late bite on that slider right there. The best ones out of that late action that just dumps at the last minute. They're so tough to get the bat on. Yeah, when you've got that good slider going, it's a great strike up pitch.
And that'll bring up Joey Wendell. Toward right center field. Long look to the right fielder. Oh, strikes it. And this ball game is over.
Which is normally the case of these close ones. You have a one-run game, a 2-1 decision. Really good pitching and defense in this one, and a lot of really good execution made this a fun game to watch.
Close one tonight, 2-1, the final score. The San Diego Padres get the win despite only mustering 1 hit. Yu Darvish takes home the win. Chris Archer only completed 2 innings and is charged with a loss. So that'll do it for us. For Mark DeRosa, Dan Plesac, Heidi Watney, and our entire crew, I'm Matt Vasgersian. You've been watching MLB The Show. For more, make your way over to the new website, theshow.com.
The final line scores for our ball team tonight. For the victorious San Diego Padres, 2 runs on just 1 big hit, no error. They left 3 men on base.